Rome's legendary origins. Rome's early history is wrapped in mysteries. No written records exist, and we have a little evidence of a city's earliest days. All we have found are ancient ruins that suggest people living in that area of Rome as early as the 800s BC. However, we know very little about how they lived. Would it surprise you to think that the ancient Romans were as curious about their early history as we are today? Rome's leaders wanted their city to have glorious past that would make the Roman people proud. Imagining the glorious past, they told legends of stories about the great heroes and kings who built the city. Irenaeus. The Romans believed their history could be traced back to the great Trojan hero named Irenaeus. When the Greeks destroyed Troy in the Trojan War, Irenaeus fled with his followers. After a long and dangerous journey, he reached Italy. The story of this trip is told in the Aeneid, an epic poem written by a poet named Virgil, around 220 BC. According to the story, when Irenaeus reached Italy, he found several people living there. He formed an alliance with one of these groups, a people called the Latins. Together, they fought the other people of Italy. After defeating the opponents, Irenaeus married the daughter of the Latin king. Irenaeus be his son, and their descendants became prominent rulers in Italy. Romulus and Remus. Among the descendants of Irenaeus were founders of Rome. According to Roman legends, these founders were twin brothers named Romulus and Remus. In the story, these two boys led exciting lives. When they were babies, they were put in a basket and thrown into the Tiber River. They didn't drown though because a wolf rescued them. The wolf cared for the boys for many years. Eventually, a shepherd found the boys and adopted them. After they grew up, Romulus and Remus decided to build a city to mark the spot where the wolf had rescued them. While they were planning the city, Remus mocked one of his brother's ideas. In a fit of anger, Romulus killed Remus. He then built a city and named it Rome after himself. Rome's early kings. According to ancient historians, Romulus was the first king of Rome, taking the throne in 753. Modern historians believe that Rome could have been founded within 50 years before or after that date. Roman records left several kings who ruled the city. Not all of them were Roman. Rome's last three kings were Aethusus. Members of the people are influenced by Greek colonies in Italy. Lived in Italy before Rome was found. The Etruscan kings made great contributions to Roman society. They built temples and Rome's first hero. Many historians think that the Romans learned their alphabet and numbers from the Etruscans. The last Roman king was said to have been a cruel man for the many people killed, including his own advisors. Finally, a group of nobles rose against him. According to the tradition, he was overthrown in 509. The nobles who no longer wanted kings created a new government. The early republic. The government the Romans created in 500 BC was a republic. In a republic, people elect leaders to govern them. Each year, the Romans elected officials to rule the city. These officials had powers, but only when stayed in power for 1 year. This system was supposed to keep maybe one person from becoming too powerful in the government. But Rome was not democracy. The city elected officials nearly all came from a small group of wealthy and powerful men. These wealthy and powerful Romans held all the power, and all other people had little to say in how the republic was run. Challenges from outside. Shortly after the Romans created the Republic, so they found themselves at war for about 50 years. The Romans were at war with other peoples of the region. For the most part, the Romans won these wars, but they lost several battles, and the wars destroyed many lives and much property. During particularly difficult wars, the Romans chose dictators, rulers with almost absolute power to lead the city. Dictators could only stay in power for 6 months. When the time was over, the dictator gave up his power. One of Rome's famous dictators was Cincinnatus, who gained power in 458 BC. Although he was a farmer, the Romans chose him to defend the city against the powerful enemy that had defeated a large Roman army. Cincinnatus quickly defeated the city's enemies. Immediately, he resigned as a dictator and returned to his farm long before his 6-month term had run out. The victory by Cincinnatus did not end Rome's troubles. Rome continues to fight its neighbors on and off many years. Cincinnatus is the most famous dictator in the early Roman Republic. Because he wasn't eager to hold on his power, the Romans considered Cincinnatus an ideal leader. They admired his abilities and his loyalty to the Republic. The early citizens of the United States admired the same qualities in their leaders. In fact, some people called George Washington the American Cincinnatus. When he refused to run for a third term as president, the people of the state of Ohio honored Cincinnatus by naming one of the major cities Cincinnati after him. Challenges within Rome. Enemy armies weren't the only challenges facing Rome. Within the city, Roman society was divided into two groups. Many of Rome's plebeians or common people were calling for the changes in the government. They wanted more of a say in how the city was run. Rome was run by powerful nobles called patricians. Only patricians could be elected to office, so they had held all political power. The plebeians were peasants, craftspeople, traders, and other workers. Some of these plebeians, especially traders, were as rich as patricians. Even though the plebeians outnumbered the patricians, they couldn't take part in the government. In 494 BC, the plebeians found a council that had elected their own officials, an act that frightened many patricians. They feared that Rome would fall apart if the two groups did not cooperate. The patricians decided that it was time to change the government.